This is Horror Podcast.
Welcome to This is Horror, a podcast for readers, writers, and creators. I'm Michael David Wilson, and every episode alongside my co-host Bob Pastorella, we chat with the world's best writers about writing, life lessons, creativity, and much more. Today, we are talking to Max Booth III about their recently released book, I Believe in Mr. Bones. Now, Max Booth has been a guest on This is Horror a number of times. They are the publisher of Ghoulish Books. They also run the Ghoulish Book Festival, which happened very recently. And they even have, in Texas, the Ghoulish Bookstore. So a lot of ghoulish things going on for Max Booth. Max is the author of a number of books as well as Mr. Bones, including the fantastic short story collection Abnormal Statistics, We Need to Do Something, the brilliant 2020 novella that was made into a film. They've written Maggots Screaming, The Nightly Disease, Touch the Night, How to Successfully Kidnap Strangers, which was the first book that I read by Max Booth, and a bunch of other books, including Carnivorous Lunar Activities, which I want to see made into a film. It's bloody brilliant. So, lots of things that Max has done, but before we get Max on the show, a quick advert break.
It was as if the video had unzipped my skin, slunk inside my tapered flesh, and become one with me.
From the creator of This is Horror comes a new nightmare for the digital age, The Girl in the Video by Michael David Wilson. After a teacher receives a weirdly arousing video, his life descends into paranoia and obsession. More videos follow, each containing information no stranger could possibly know. But who's sending them, and what do they want? The answers may destroy everything and everyone he loves. The Girl in the Video is The Ring meets Fatal Attraction for the iPhone generation. Available now in paperback, ebook, and audio.
In 1867, the young Samantha Gray marries the infamous Captain Jakes, unleashing a series of brutal horrors in this epic splatter western from Death's Head Press. Mayhem Sam by J.D. Grace is a rip-roaring tall tale of revenge, drags a coffin full of gold across the hellscape of Reconstruction, Texas, and explodes at the top of a mountain. You better read this one with the lights on.
Okay, with that said, here it is. It's Max Booth on This is Horror. Max, welcome back to This is Horror.
Do you need to give like a more detailed intro of who I am?
No, we'd have done that in the introduction part with the adverts.
Oh, I didn't get to that yet.
No, I record that after. So with Max Booth today, he is the author of a number of books.
That's right. My newest one is I Believe in Mr. Bones. Yeah, you guys read it. It's out now.
Yeah.
What's the next question?
Well, there wasn't a first question to begin with.
I saw the question like in the way you were looking at me.
Anyway, the last time that we spoke, it was over a year ago for The Last Haunt, a book that was definitely fictitious in every regard, and you couldn't get sued by McCamey. Who I think something's gone on with him since we were last speaking.
I think he got arrested. Potentially like a homicide case. I don't know. I haven't kept up to date with him, but I think he's involved in some type of missing person or Homicide, I don't know. I wish I had kept up to date with him. I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he often is like posting long live streams, and I just don't have the patience to watch him talk. He's just has an extremely punchable face, I think, and just the way he talks is really much like, I don't know if you encounter this much, Michael, being in Japan, but Bob will know what I'm talking about. He has like classic condescending MAGA tone, with the way he talks. I can't do it.
So hang on, you are friends with him on Facebook, or you're
But that-
following his Facebook page?
I don't know. I mean, is there a difference? Yes, but I
Yeah.
mean, just because I'm Facebook friends with somebody doesn't mean I'm friends with them. It's just like sent them a request and they accepted it. That doesn't mean that we talk or anything. I'm not on his podcast. I'm on your podcast, Michael, and we aren't even Facebook friends. So, I mean,
Well, that's because I don't have Facebook anymore. Is the mystery with that particular one? We were Facebook friends, but
then you deleted me.
no, I deleted Facebook.
As
There's a-
consequence, you deleted me.
oh dear. Well, no, the reason that I wondered if you were friends with him on Facebook, which, as you've pointed out in the disclaimer, doesn't mean real life friends, was because I wondered if that meant that he'd then seen you posting about the last haunt, and if anything had come as a result of that.
No, it must be a case of me having followed his page then. But I do think he knows about the book only because I was in one of those anti-McCamey Facebook page groups, and a few people were posting about the book when it came out. They found out about it, and I know he had like secret agents in that group that repelled stuff back to him. So he definitely knew about it. But hey, I don't want to get political or anything, so it's okay.
Okay. Well, I can respect that decision,
thank you.
and I know from your social media profile and just interactions over the years that being political is the last thing you would want to do in any regard.
I know both political trail leads. They read my books, and I wouldn't want to say anything to offend either of them, so they would not read my material. I mean, if you look at many people in the indie Who scene over the years, they've said many similar things of how there's no reason to bring politics into the industry, and why can't we just get along? So, I mean, I'm with that. So if we could not get political tonight, that would be great. Thank you.
So since we last spoke in October of 2023, what have been some of the biggest changes for you personally and professionally? Now, usually I would ask the 3 Ps, which would be personally, professionally, and politically, but out of respect for your previous statement.
Yeah. If we could omit the last P completely, that would be great. Now, I don't want to get political, as I said, so I am going to just quickly brush past the fact that I am non-binary. So I came out as non-binary, but again, I don't want to get political, so we don't need to talk about gender whatsoever. No offense to anyone listening, but beyond that. I already opened the bookshop last time we talked, so that's the same. The bookshop is still going on. We're still doing the annual Ghoulish Book Fest, the new one. When is this episode going live, do you think? Any idea?
It'll probably be going live within the next month, so shall we say the end of February?
That's perfect, Michael. I'm sorry if I ask you questions at all. I don't know if you're used to that. As the one who does the questions, I
have been Jansed before, if that's what you're talking about.
I don't know anything about that, but yeah. So March 14th and 15th, the Friday and Saturday spring break. If you're in San Antonio, That is when we're doing the latest Ghoulish Book Fest. Pretty excited about that. Maybe the last one for a while for reasons I don't want to get into, but Texas is a pretty scary place right now. I don't want to get into the reasons why, but yeah, I'm excited for the fest. Bob, you're coming. I've seen you at every one of these fests. I assume you like it. I assume you're a fan. What do you have to say about it?
I live in Herman and Sons. That's where I live. That's my house. And so, I'm always going to be there.
So for anyone listening, Hillman Sons is the name of the location we do the book fest at. It's like an old, I don't know, lodge, I guess, in downtown San Antonio. It's a really odd building, and it's like an old organization, not quite like Freemasons. I don't
was
quite
about to say it was probably Freemasons, but yeah.
similar to it. Like
similar to.
There's one room in the
They
fest
were the Paymasons. The
that we-
Paymasons.
the premium Masons.
Yeah, the premium Masons. Yes.
There's one room in the building where we do the live readings, and it's a completely occupied wall to wall with old photographs that kind of remind you of The Shining. But the photographs are like separated by gender. I don't mean to get into politics, but one wall is all male, one wall is all female, and those are the only two genders, I assume. So I don't know why they would have any other photos hanging. But it's really odd. Like, why is that still a thing? Why are they still keeping that like tradition? And there's a lot of odd like Viking imagery like on windows, but I'm pretty sure if I looked too heavily into like what all the Hillmansons, I would be having to get a new venue. So I just don't look into it, and that's the easiest way to go with life, I think, is just to not look into anything just in case it might be bad. So yeah, it's a really cool building though. There's an abandoned bowling alley in it that
I have never ever been in the bowling alley part.
Did you not
ever.
sneak into it with us, or you being like so you don't go to jail?
No,
you're not gonna
we found out later that there was cameras there.
Yeah, that's okay.
We're at the bar going, there's cameras in the bowling alley room. He knew that we were in there.
I mean, if he looked.
yeah. If they managed to actually look and see, but then, no one, I mean, it's like, what's the guy's name, the bartender? He never said anything.
I'm
like,
not going to dox him.
Yeah, don't go in there. I'm not going to say shit to him. Fuck, I live there, man. They'll kick me out.
Yeah, probably so. Then where would you live?
No, I would still stay there. I would just become more of the ghost.
Oh, you would just Squaddle's rights. Got it. So, the building's really cool, Michael. You would find it fascinating, I think. Not joking about the bowling alley. I think it was 2 years ago. They left it unlocked, and so a bunch of us, like just kids, were like, "Let's go!" and we just ran in, and all the bowling pins and the bowling balls were still in place. It was really like retro. I don't know what the deal is. Why it's not in use anymore? It definitely
they even had people
haunted.
up there bowling. Yeah, they had people up there bowling and shit. And they'd been up there forever.
That's not true, though. But. So yeah, that's coming up next month. Badges are on sale now. I'm pretty excited about that. Beyond that, I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything new that has happened. I just got a new dog who is extremely old and mostly blind and deaf, and it has become a nightmare in my life. So that's cool. The dog is pretty cool, but one of my other dogs, the younger lab we have, who is named Conan O'Brien, he is nothing but an anxiety basket case. He is not a fan of this old man that we've just brought into the house, so it's been a pain in the ass keeping them separated because he will kill this old man if we let him. So I'm pretty it's been pretty stressful with that, but not really has anything to do with my professional life.
What was the impetus for getting this dog that Conan O'Brien, the dog, not the man, but possibly also seems to not get along with very well.
Oh, just, well, you're not on Facebook anymore, so you wouldn't know about this, but those, Facebook groups of local communities, and this woman who's like a foster who takes in dogs from the shelter and gives them a temporary home was just posting a photo of him, and I'm very much a softie. I saw the photo in the post about the dog. He was like 15, and his family gave him up for reasons I don't know. It seems extremely odd. They had him all his life, and then they just gave him up. And we were like, well, we don't have room for another dog. We should not do that. And then like a week and a half passed, and she was still posting, trying to find someone to take him. So we took him.
That's that then.
What were you expecting?
I don't know. but
I can
yeah.
make up something real exciting if you want.
Well, I mean, we can save that for your next book, because there's a lot of, exaggerated autobiography.
It did give me an idea, though, like when we will go into the foster-old's house, like such a good premise for like a book, right? You go there and it's not even the dog that she had photographs. It's just like some slimy man who thinks he's a dog. You will see the movie The Baby. It's like from the 80s, I think. It's about this family, and they have the baby, who's just like this mentally challenged grown man who they keep in a crib and breastfeed still, and they they hire like a nanny to come take care of him. It's extremely I almost said raunchy, but that's not the right word. It's just deranged. Great movie.
Oh my goodness, no, I'm not familiar with that, but I kind of love the idea of just catfishing with animals, which is effectively what this would be.
Yeah. But with not a cat or a fish.
Well,
it would be a dog and a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Man
catfish,
dogging.
if you want, yeah. Why not throw in a dogging scene? I mean,
what is the like origin of catfish? The world itself? I don't quite know. Do you know?
I don't know,
Bob?
but
I thought it had to do with like someone like I don't know why they used the word. It don't make any sense. But
it's something like in fishing, where like you think you might be catching a catfish, but then it's like a cod.
I don't know. I know that like catfish are not easy. They're not easy to handle once you catch them.
Okay.
Because of the barbs.
Yeah.
And they'll slide, they'll sting you pretty good.
I've caught a catfish. I think I've told this story on the podcast before. When I was a kid, I went to this bridge with my brother, and we went fishing, and I caught a catfish, and we put it in a bag and took it home and just put the bag in the freezer. And later that day, my parents came home. My mom opened the freezer and opened the bag. She was like, "What is this?" And then it began moving, and she panicked and just threw it against the wall, and it died. So that's something that happened. I don't know what that has to do with catfishing as a hoax, though.
Yeah, but I don't know why they use that name. It's basically people who are saying that there's something that they're not online. That's the impression that I got.
Yeah, I mean, maybe originally a cat posed as a fish.
I don't think that's right.
Probably not.
Have you guys ever catfished anyone? That's a good question.
It's not a good question.
No. You don't want to answer. Is that the reason why it's not a good question?
I have not gone
never catfished anybody.
Not yet. Never say never, but it's not happened.
Okay.
Are you catfishing now? You seem distracted.
As I got somebody. No, I was looking at why it's called catfish. It refers to the practice of placing a catfish in a tank of cod. Wow, I just named that fish for no reason. For the purposes of shipping, the imposter, or the catfish, is said to prevent the cod from becoming pale and lethargic, ensuring the delivery of a high-quality product. I could have named any fish, and I named the fish that was in this Wikipedia page. What the hell? Pretty good sign. This is going to be a great podcast, right? I
Yeah.
would love to catfish someone with you guys. Just saying. I think it'd be great. Well, I have a different question. Have any of
Is
you
it
been
normally a
catfished?
team activity then?
Yeah, you could tag team someone.
Yeah.
3 people, one bait. So the catfish is the person doing the trick. Who is the one being tricked? The cod? Who's the cod?
I don't know.
Do you pick at random, or do you like pick someone you know?
I would say that'd be like the victim of the whole thing.
I don't want to get political. I don't think we should use that word.
The target.
Yes, I'm good with that.
Yeah, the target of the catfishing.
I love doing this podcast, especially the video, because I can just see the look in Michael's eyes of like just him calculating what he's going to have to cut as we talk. It's great.
Yeah, I guess as well that speaking with you, sometimes a follow-up question can be more difficult than with other, interviewees, particularly if you're playing the heel. I mean,
That's all Bob. That's all Bob this time. He's mean Bob today.
Yeah. People won't know the origin story, seeing as that was off air, but that has never stopped us before from referencing what we spoke about off air.
Well, I don't even like origin stories that much, to be honest. I mean, how many times do we have to see that guy get bit by a spider? I mean, we get it.
Fair enough.
Sorry to get political. You can ask a follow-up if you like.
Well, I mean, before you were saying that this is not necessarily the final year that you'll be doing the Ghoulish Book Festival, but you won't be doing it next year. So I'm wondering, I mean, what does kind of your routine look like at the moment with the festival and with writing, with publishing, with the bookstore? How are you dividing your time, and which is the most profitable, or which is kind of your leading business?
So I think I should do a disclaimer and say, since we began doing this fest around this time, I usually just begin saying constantly, this is the last fest we're doing. And then usually by the end of the weekend on the fest, I'm like, okay, we'll do it again. That has happened every year. However, this time my reasons will not so much the whole like, this is exhausting and I can't do it anymore. It definitely has to do with like, I don't ethically think I can encourage anyone to travel to Texas right now, and I feel guilty about it, which is a different reason. Again, apologies for bringing that into the conversation. But the answer to your question, I don't know how to answer it. I have a lot of things going on, and I think if listeners go back and listen to like any of the previous episodes we've done, I will at one point say, I'm going to begin trying to improve my organization skills. It does not happen. So it still hasn't happened. I don't write much at the moment. I need to, but I don't. The bookshop, I mean, my schedule is the bookshop is open Tuesday to Saturday. I come in around 10, 11 a.m. I spend the whole day. If I have any bookshop stuff to do, I do that, like stocking and taking some promo photos, helping customers. I'm not in a place with a lot of foot traffic, so I don't get a lot of people coming in usually. I get a lot of people on Saturdays mostly, so today was pretty busy. But weekdays, maybe 1 or 2 people throughout the day at most. It's not really a high effort job. I mean, once in a while, I'll get someone in who wants to talk, someone who comes in and they want like some recommendations, which I find really fun to do. I love when someone comes in and is like, hey, I don't know what I want. This is what I like. What do you want? What should I buy? Those are always fun conversations. So when I'm at the bookshop, I'm usually just doing publishing stuff. I'll mostly editing. We recently, within the last year and a half, we hired somebody to help with like publicity, mostly like the social medias, which has backfired in the fact that most of the social medias are just useless now and owned by fascist bootlickers. Apologies. So social media isn't that great at the moment. Blue Sky is okay though. I think we get some pretty good traction on Blue Sky, but nowhere else it seems. I do a lot of editing. I recently began freelance editing again after some time away, and so I thankfully have finally gotten some clients with that. So I spend a lot of time editing. I do podcasting infrequently. I write a little bit, not as much. I owe a stage play by the end of the month. I'm contracted to write a stage play adaptation of my book/movie. We Need to Do Something. So I'm in the process of doing that. I signed. Oh, this is something new, I think, since the last time we talked. I signed with a book agent. So she is in the process of shopping my out of print novel, Carnivorous Lunar Activities, around, and she is waiting for me to finish a new book that she can shop around. Because when she signed with me, I was already contracted to write, I believe, in Mystical Bones, so that wasn't really anything she could help with since it already had a home. So she's been really patiently waiting for me to finish a new book, and that is what I've been working on when I do write anything. Did I answer the question? What is profitable? I don't know. I guess the editing at this point, just because that money goes directly to me. I don't take a paycheck for the publishing company or the bookshop. Any money we make besides royalties, it just goes back into the company. Even like the books I've self-published through Ghoulish, I don't take money for those. Any royalties I get from those sales, we just go push it back into the company to keep it alive.
So in terms of your day-to-day money, that is pretty much exclusively coming from editing then?
Yes, and royalties from like the books being published by other presses, because I'm not having them pay the Ghoulish. They go straight to my own bank account. Unlike the press, and I believe in Mystical Bones, we do have separate bank accounts. So yeah, I get paid for like the Apocalypse books and the one day I assume the Cemetery Gates book.
Fingers crossed.
All right, go buy it. The Last Haunt. Let's get that advance paid off, folks.
And I mean, in terms of like both the publishing and the bookstore, we spoke a little bit about this before, but obviously you kind of are competing with Amazon in the sense that Amazon is a place where a lot of people buy books. It's where a lot of books are getting published. What kind of things are you doing, or how the hell do you even deal with that? Because I mean, do you price match? Do you kind of have to take a cut and just do free shipping? Because Amazon have this machine where, it's very difficult for independents to compete.
Yeah, we don't price match and we don't do free shipping. One thing we don't have that Amazon has is every book ever published. And it sounds like that's a good thing, but it's not, because Amazon is flooded basically by infinite options. But when you go to a bookshop, an indie bookshop, it's fairly niche and curated by the people who run the shop. So you come in and the selection is quality, because an actual human has like selected what to stock and how to display it, and they know about the books and they can talk about it face to face. And that is a huge difference between like what Amazon is, which is just fucking slop. It's just like someone took a bucket of slop and just spilled it over a colony of ants. I mean, what I just said makes no sense, but it sounded cool in my head before I said it. Sorry to get political.
You said it makes no sense, but I was nodding along like, yeah, I kind of get that.
It sounded cool. I don't know if the ants came into play, to be honest. I kind of lost my train of thought with that.
But it helped make your point. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also like when you buy something from us, it's two people packaging it. The same two people. We put all these bonuses in every book we ship out. Stickles, book milks, Phillies has little cool, spooky things that doesn't really cost too much with the added shipping. Yeah, I mean, and also like for those not shipping and those who just come into the shop, it's a place of community, you know? It's a place where people who like the same strange stuff could come hang out. And like you come into a bookshop like this, and you find something by like Christopher Triana or Judith Sonnet. You don't find that at Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, do you find that you're getting a number of regulars, and do you also have events on at the bookstore to encourage people to come in?
Oh yeah, we get quite a few people who return and come in. There's this one guy. He's great. He rides a motorcycle. He's I don't know, 70 maybe. He loves short stories. He loves like Ellen Datler's stuff. He's been reading this stuff since before Michael and I were even alive, probably. He comes in like once a week and just wants to talk about like short stories we've read. We have a lot of people like that, but we do events too. We do a free monthly movie screening. So we move all the tables out and we project a movie on the wall. We do that free, but we also keep the movie title a secret so we don't get sued because we don't pay for like the movie rights to screen anything. And I'm pretty sure if we don't take payment for ticket and we don't advertise what movie it is online, we legally are kind of okay. So we do that every month.
Are you sure you want this in the podcast? Just in case it's legally not okay.
I mean, I don't want to get political, but I'm sure it's fine. We advertise the event all the time online, so yeah, it's fine. I'm pretty upfront with why we do it as a secret screening. But also my buddy Miguel, who hosts a podcast called My Whole Confessional, he comes down and he helps program each month. He even puts together a half-hour pre-show, which is like clips from YouTube somehow related to the movie. And that plays before the movie, and like we let people kind of guess what the movie is going to end up being. Fairly similar to what like the Alamo Drafthouse does.
It sounds like a great movie night.
Depends on the movie.
Yeah. Well, I
wish I could tell you. Well, I was about to tell you the movie because by the time this comes out, the movie will have passed. But no, I'm not going to say the movie on a public thing because I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a very sensible way of proceeding.
I thought you were going to say sexual.
I mean, either or. I mean, it could be sexual for some people. We don't kink shame here, so
I do, but it's not my podcast.
You do?
It's not my podcast, though, so I'll respect the policy you guys have.
Okay. Well, moving on to your latest book, I believe in Mr. Bones. What is the origin story for this? I know you maybe said you hate origin stories earlier, but when did you
Great question.
come up with this?
Yeah, so wow, okay. I had the title before I had this book. I had a different book in mind. The original book I was going to write with this title, it was going to be about this dad and son who like shopping at the grocery store one day, and it's Halloween time, and they see all the spooky cereal mascots like Count Chocula and all that. And it gets to him talking how, when I was a kid, we had this awesome one called Mr. Bones. It was like this marshmallow cereal. but then they discontinued it, and it gets him like thinking like, man, what happened to that cereal? And he goes to look it up online. He can't find anything about this cereal whatsoever, and it becomes almost like a what was that creepy pasta that became a show on Channel Zero? Candle Cove.
Yeah, Candle Cove.
Yeah, so it was gonna kind of be something similar to that, and also I saw the TV Glow, so I'm glad I didn't write it because I saw the TV Glow. It was fairly similar, but also what made me not write it was there was a book by Carlton Melick, and I can't remember the name of the book, but it's pretty much the same premise, down to like someone trying to track down a forgotten cereal brand. So I just said, okay, well, I'm not going to write this. Never mind. But I love the title, and I love the idea of like something with this Mistral Bones, because the same premise of Mistral Bones, like stealing bones from you and replacing it with something, that existed in the previous idea, and that felt pretty fresh and original. So I wanted to do something with that. And when the idea to use it like with a publishing company, I'm not positive where that came from at this point. I don't remember. I just remember like thinking, like getting serious about writing it shortly after I was on Talking Scaled, that podcast, because we were talking about my novella Indiana Death Song, and the host, he was asking me something like, why teeth? And I just off the top of my head said, oh, why are teeth creepy? Because it's the only part of the skeleton you can see. And just that response just kind of lingered in my head for a while, and it got my juices flowing. What a disgusting thing to say. My juices were flowing, and it just led to getting obsessed with this idea that became the book. Because skeletons are fucking creepy. There's a Ray Bradbury story that I love to death, but it is so surreal, being called The Skeleton. And it's about this guy, he just like suddenly becomes like really conscious of the fact that he has a fucking skeleton in his body at all times, and it wants out. And I think that's just really disturbing to think about, to just sit. Everyone listening to this podcast, just, if you're not driving, close your eyes and just really think about the fact that underneath all this disgusting flesh, you have a skeleton inside you, something that you will never really going to see because it doesn't come out until you die. And it's just inside you always, and you can't do anything with it. It's really fucking creepy to think about, I think. But now think about, what if something came along and then replace just like a little bit of that skeleton inside of you, like just say one bone. What if it no longer was a bone? What if it was something different? Would you know that? Like, how do you trust what inside of you is a bone? I don't know.
Well, I mean, a number of people have replacements like hip surgery, so it's like at some point, if you replaced enough bones, then it's an artificial skeleton.
I'm not talking about that stuff, though.
No.
It sounds like
it's different.
Have you ever seen those shows like with UFO abductions and stuff like that, how people have claimed that things have been inserted into their bodies?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm fascinated with that shit, right? I guarantee there's probably somebody out there who feels like they've had a bone replaced by something not normal, not natural. There has to be. And then just that thought, that right there could make an entire novel. Just someone going through that whole thing without having a Mr. Bones or anything like that. And so to take that idea and tie it to a mythology, I love that shit.
Oh, well, thank you, man. I think it's a pretty good book. I had a lot of fun writing it. Maybe the most fun I've had writing something. I don't know. It really took off once it finally did. I'm really grateful to Ben at Apocalypse, who contracted me to write it, because at one point we were emailing about something, and I just mentioned the idea I had for this book. And then several months later, he emailed me like, "Hey, are you going to write that book? Because I would love to publish it." And he just contracted me to do it before I'd even begun doing it. And then I was like, "Yes, let's do it." He gave me a deadline. I said, "No problem, I'll get that done. No time at all." The deadline passed, hadn't begun it yet. So then I wrote the whole book in like a month and a half. And I really, but that seems to be how I write now. I wait until I wait until I absolutely cannot wait any longer, and I just kind of go crazy and like lose my sense with reality and just write nonstop in this frenzied pace. I did that in my last few books. I don't know why that seems to be what works for me. I also keep writing books that require like a stressful, frantic pacing. And I've convinced myself to get that pacing, I also have to be experiencing like that stress and that like frantic train of thought. I don't know. Maybe I just need anxiety medication. I don't know.
Well, I mean, speaking of which, I believe that you said that you quite literally had a panic attack while writing the book.
Oh, I think that. Did I? No, I believe it.
You did?
I was probably referring to just like, but I was just talking about how I just kind of went crazy and wrote it super fast.
And I mean, in terms of the reaction to the book, I mean, how did Ben receive it? Because, I mean, tonally, it's pretty different to Abnormal Statistics. And I mean, I would say that is amongst your bleakest of books. And I tend to find that you've either got the kind of comedic mode or you've just got this very, very dark, bleak horror with very few laughs. But this is the one book that really simultaneously does both.
I think it's the type of book I've been looking up to being able to write like my whole career, because like I have something like Maggot Screaming, which is sad at times, but mostly funny. Well, The Nightly Disease, which is mostly just funny. Same with Carnivorous Lunar Activities. But then I have stuff that's really deadly serious and bleak and sad. But to get both of those feelings in almost like a whiplash motion throughout a book, that's like the dream. And I do think that is what Mystical Bones is, and that's the type of book I'm most interested in writing, because it's the two most like extreme senses, comedy and drama. I mean, they made masks of them at some point. That's a shout out to the masks. I don't know what they're called. The drama. Well, what am I talking about? The those two
tragedy and comedy.
Yeah, those things. It's like a Shakespeare thing. I know nothing about them.
Yeah,
I'm shouting them out.
Shakespearean masks. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to get Shakespearean. Yeah. What was the question?
Well, I was asking about the response from Ben.
Ben liked it a lot. He had a few notes, mostly. So there's a thing with this book that I guess we should address. For fans of like the Kendrick Lamar "Just Like Us" song, like 10% of this novel is a diss track, I guess. Because the book is about a small press in the indie hurl scene, which I have a lot of experience with. And there's a lot of things that happen in the book and things they talk about that could be, maybe, if you were stretching it, viewed as like jokes about real people. So there's a few times in the book where Ben was like, "Hey, maybe you could disguise this a bit more so we don't get sued or anything." So that was mostly all the editing I did after he read it. It was just disguise a few things a bit more, even though I didn't need to, because it was completely fictional anyway. It wasn't based on anyone. But you know how people these days are, they get offended by anything, right, guys?
Yeah. I mean, so You satirize parts of the horror genre and publishing industry, and I mean, we haven't really seen this from you since How to Successfully Kidnap Strangers, at least to this degree. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wondering perhaps this is going to be a once every decade thing where you you satirize in a completely fictitious way, not actually based on a real person, as you said,
I
different facets.
I do think How to Kidnap Strangers and this book have some things in common. Absolutely. It's really funny to think about writing a new publishing book every like decade. Maybe I will. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's what I know. I mean, I've always written books about like my own life in some ways. Um, the Nightly Disease. It's a novel about a guy who works a night shift at a hotel. I wrote that while working the night shift at a hotel. The way I tend to write is I take things from my own life and I bend and I stretch it and I reshape it into something that I view as somehow entertaining or meaningful on the page. I don't think that's like a unique way of writing. I think most people do that. I tend sometimes to be not as subtle about it, mostly because I find that's funny sometimes. Like in the case of Mr. Bones, the press is in Texas, in San Antonio, like I am. It's operated by a husband and wife, like my press is. My press is called Ghoulish Books. In this book, the press is Fiendish Books. It's just funny to me to have it like that so on the nose, and then immediately make the audience read maybe the most extreme sex scene I've ever written in my life, just because I think it's really funny that they're going to be reading it with that mindset and then immediately get this scene. I don't know. It just seems amusing to me. I haven't analyzed too much like the whole meta aspect of it all. Just I keep going back to it. Like even with Maggot Screaming, I named the entire cast after myself and other people I know. Same with The Last Haunt. It's not like something I think like, oh, I should do that. It's just that's what feels like the best way to go about it for some reason, and I don't know why.
Right, and in this one, not only did you have fictitious people within the genre, but you had some that were just like, this is Jessica McHugh. I think Betty Rocksteady may have turned up at some point too. So
We talk about Betty in the book. By the way, we're recording this on February 8th, a Saturday. It's Betty's birthday today. Shout out to Betty Rocksteady. Happy birthday. I'm doing
birthday.
an ad on the podcast.
it's saying happy birthday, an ad?
She's open for commissions. Betty Rocksteady.
It's an ad, okay.
She's great. Go hire a little to draw some cool stuff. But yeah, she's in it. Jessica McHugh's in it. I did ask permission before just bringing Jessica into the book because she is kind of outrageous. She calls a lot of people cunt, I think, in the book, which is not dissimilar to how she is in real life.
Johnny Compton's in it. Did you ever finish editing his stuff?
No. Yeah, Johnny Compton's in it. I asked him if that was okay. He said, yeah. So those are. Are we going to get to a point in the podcast where it's okay if we spoil stuff? I don't know.
I think just if we give a disclaimer that we are about to spoil, aspects of the book, and maybe also in that disclaimer, how far are we going to spoil? Is this just a mild plot point, or is it like you're getting the ending at this point?
Okay. I'm going to be spoiling the halfway point of the book. So skip ahead for like 5 minutes, maybe. Most of the book is leading to them doing the debut Fiendish Book Fest, and we do the Ghoulish Book Fest. So I definitely wanted to write about like the anxieties involved in running a a book fest, especially that feels fest where you have no idea what to expect, what it's going to be like. And I had all these plans in my head of like the book detailing, like day one of the fest. It was going to go deep into it. And like Johnny was going to be middle of a Calypso, and Jessica McHugh was going to be middle of a Calypso, and all these people. I came up with all these fake presses, which I named in the book, but they don't really get screen time, page time in the book. I had planned on all this stuff happening, but then again, massive spoiler, the main Calypso in the book decides to commit suicide the night before the fest. I had planned on that happening on night one of the fest. He was going to like fall asleep from stress in the bathroom at the fest and have an awful dream and just freak out and run home and just off himself as Eileen, his wife, was trying to run the fest by herself. But then I got to the scene with they were like packaging the books, the goodie bags and so forth, and it's just like occurred to me how much funnier it would be if I just embraced the alt of being anticlimactic, and just after all this like promo and like excitement about this fest, we never see the fest. He just offs himself before the fest happens. And I think that was definitely the right move. Although I do regret not being able to write like scenes involving some of the small presses I had planned, because I think that would have been fun. But to be anticlimactic in a way, it's just so much more exciting and just funny to me, rather than giving the reader what they expected to happen.
And I love too that, you know, after the suicide, you then had the opportunity to satirize how people would react to it on social media.
I was about to say that. Yeah, you nailed that stuff. Sadly, that's exactly how people would act. But it was very funny in the context of the story.
I mostly just kind of Tom Soiled myself with that interlude, just kind of thinking how people would react if I did die before a book fest that I was hosting, and that's how I imagined it would mostly go.
Yeah.
What do you think I missed? What would you guys have tweeted?
Oh, I don't know.
And I think if you offered yourself, we do a whole episode, not just the tweets.
Yeah,
I fucking knew it.
You knew it.
Yeah. Here's a compilation of every Max Booth episode. Please subscribe to our Patreon if you would like to listen to it.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Max. You will get friends.
Yeah. We are 2 subscribers away from hitting 1,000.
Patreons can ask a question, but Max will not be answering this time.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Could do a live seance and podcast.
Be pretty cool.
Yeah, if people want to participate, it's patreon.com/This Is Horror.
Should I fake my death so we can do that?
I mean, I don't know. The thing is, because you faked your death once before, as alluded to, like, I don't know if you faked it. If, you know, too many people might think that it's fake. But now you've created the situation where if you die, people are going to be like, no, fuck off. Max isn't dead.
Oh my God. Come up with a new bit.
Yeah.
You're just like a reverse Andy Kaufman. Yeah.
That's my favorite sex move.
Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
The reverse Andy Kaufman.
That's right. Yeah. I don't do a full old Andy Kaufman. That's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Very advanced technique. Well, my goodness. I think I had many follow-up questions until we went to reverse Andy Kaufman, and how my brain is just every kind of thought has now disappeared. I mean, that's the power of Kaufman, I suppose.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. I don't know why I'm laughing. That's completely reasonable.
Can we have a moment of silence on the podcast for Andy Kaufman?
There you go. That's a moment. We're not
Great.
having a full minute. I'd just
Say a
cut
minute.
it in the post edit anyway.
How many podcasts will give me moments of silence for Andy Kaufman? That's the beauty of having me on as a guest. I think about things no one else does. I bring honesty to the show.
Do you?
I don't know. No.
I'm not sure about that statement. But yeah, I mean, of course, this involved breaking bones, for the Mr. Bones mythos to become reality. So I wondered, did you break any bones whilst writing this book, whether deliberately or accidentally?
I've never broken a bone. No. I wish I could say I have, but I haven't. I will admit something that I find kind of funny in retrospect. I was doing some event out of town, and I was driving back home. This was in the 2-month insane time of my life when I was writing the book, and I convinced myself for like a good 5-hour period while driving that night I was going to break my pinky intentionally so I would just know what the pain felt like, but also because I thought it would be amusing stuff to talk about on podcasts while promoting the book. I was just completely convinced that's what I'm going to do. And then I got home and kind of slept and woke up and I was like, it's fucking crazy. Why would I do that? But it's kind of terrifying to like be convinced of something so insane and like not see the flaw in that logic whatsoever. I'm glad I didn't do it, but also I'm kind of sad I didn't, because how much funnier would this episode be if I had?
Well, there's always the sequel for breaking the pinky, but yeah. Okay.
Have you guys broken any bones?
Not while reading Mr. Bones.
No,
I don't think I've broken a bone. I've dislocated my shoulder, but that's
not the same thing.
It's not Mr. Dislocation, is it? Which is not as catchy a title. What were you saying, Bob? I broke
my collarbone when I was younger, and I didn't realize that it had broken. I knew that I'd injured myself pretty good, but it was when I raised my arm up and it popped back in place very loudly. And then I felt real pain.
Oh man.
Yeah. And that was excruciating.
Yikes. How'd you do that?
I was pushed off something on a playground.
Okay.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, it was I was on the merry-go-round.
Mm-hmm.
And some kids were playing and they were pushing pretty much every kid off, and I got pushed off. And I didn't land properly. I landed on my shoulder, and I was like, man, this doesn't feel good. And it was later on, and probably about an hour or two later, that I had moved my arm, I guess, in an up position, and it popped. And then, I guess people would say, "Who's that girl screaming?" That was me.
Oh man!
I mean, it freaking hurt bad.
I imagine.
And so the good news was I didn't have to have it reset, because that's basically what I had done, is I had set it.
Yeah.
In other words, like from what the doctor told me, the bones were like this. And so when I moved my arm up, it twisted it, popped it back in place. Yikes. So, but all that muscle and everything on my shoulder was very, very sore. And I had to wear a back brace to keep it from separating.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I walked around like this, of course the people who are just listening to the show could not see what I was doing, and that's your fault. But anyway,
that's why they got us pledged to become a patron.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But you can just watch it on YouTube.
You can just watch it on YouTube.
Guess what he was doing? You would think that he was just straightening his back out. He had his complete penis out It was
Yeah,
fucking
I did.
crazy.
Yeah, you can't see that on YouTube. That's for sure.
Well, I have. I mean, no.
What?
There's something totally different. Never mind.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I don't recommend breaking a bone. I don't think it feels very good.
So something that's going on that I've noticed with my book since it's come out has gotten a strange reaction to people reading it. Multiple people have told me they've had bad dreams about breaking little bones as they read the book, which is really cool to me. Someone told me they woke up, like they fell asleep reading it and woke up, and when they got up, they were so dizzy they just fell back down. And someone else told me they fell down like steps and like sprained the ankle while like not. I don't think they were reading it while walking down the steps. That would be really stupid. But they will like in between sessions of reading it, and I'm just waiting. I'm so impatient. I'm just waiting for somebody to finally break a bone while reading this book. That would be like the best thing for me personally. I think it would really help book sales if that would happen. So if any like fan of mine, like diehard fan listening to this episode, if they want to help me out, you know what to do.
I mean, this is the kind of thing where, I mean, it could just take something like that happening for it to go completely viral. Or I want to see, people embrace it as a real thing. It's got that potential. And, the TikTok challenge, it's like, can you read Mr. Bones without breaking a bone?
That sounds really easy.
That's what people have been doing so far.
Yeah, but you got to convince the people that you can't.
I
And
want
then
the
it's
challenge to be, can you break a bone while holding my book up on video? That's what I want to see.
I mean, that is the level of a TikTok challenge. Didn't people just start eating Tide detergent for no real reason?
I don't know. I recently deleted my TikTok, but I don't want to get political and explain why. So
Okay.
I'm not on it now. What about you
All
guys?
What's TikTok?
Oh, it's an app where you can like do small videos, basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have a TikTok, but I have not posted on it, in a long time.
So I do have one. I just deleted the app from my phone. I'm pretty grumpy about it because I thought for sure it was just going away. So I made what is like a great last video, which was basically me like going like, okay, guys, I know I've been pretty lackluster with the TikTok, but things will change now. I'm finally going to take this seriously. I just spent like $2,000 built of equipment, and you're going to be seeing some high quality TikToks. And that was the like posted 2 days before it was supposed to shut down. So I thought, brilliant way to end it. And then like immediately it came back. So I'm just like, I'm deleting this app. I'm done with it. My joke is ruined.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to This Is Horror Podcast. If you enjoy the show and want to support us, then please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/This Is Horror. You'll get early bird access to each and every episode, and you can submit questions to the interviewee. You'll also automatically become a member of the This Is Horror Discord. And every year, there are bonus episodes for patrons only, such as Story Unboxed, the horror podcast on the craft of writing, in which Bob and I, and sometimes a special guest, will dissect a short story or film and let you know writing lessons and takeaways to improve your own writing. Another great way to support us is to leave us a review on the Apple Podcast app or website. And if you want to watch the video version of the This Is Horror podcast, join us on YouTube, youtube.com/@This Is Horror podcast. You can subscribe there and get notified every time there is a new video. And however you support us, I thank you in advance. Okay, before I wrap up, a quick advert break.
In 1867, the young Samantha Gray marries the infamous Captain Jakes, unleashing a series of brutal horrors in this epic splatter western from Death's Head Press. Mayhem Sam by J.D. Grays is a rip-roaring tall tale of revenge, drags a coffin full of gold across the hellscape of Reconstruction, Texas, and explodes at the top of a mountain. You better read this one with the lights on.
It was as if the video had unzipped my skin, slunk inside my tapered flesh, and become one with me.
From the creator of This Is Horror comes a new nightmare for the digital age, The Girl in the Video by Michael David Wilson. After a teacher receives a weirdly arousing video, his life descends into paranoia and obsession. More videos follow, each containing information no stranger could possibly know. But who's sending them, and what do they want? The answers may destroy everything and everyone he loves. The Girl in the Video is The Ring meets Fatal Attraction for the iPhone generation. Available now in paperback, ebook, and audio.
Before I wrap up, I have a final ask, and that is for you to please leave a review for the This Is Horror podcast on the Apple Podcast website. Now, we recently got a review from Core451, and they entitled the review "Love It," gave us 5 stars, thank you very much, and said, "As a horror writer, I'm always excited when a new episode of This Is Horror lands on my phone." Well, bloody brilliant. Thank you for listening, Core451. If you also enjoy This Is Horror, as I said, do please leave us a review on the Apple Podcast site. But whether you do or don't leave us a review, we're going to be back next time for part 2 with Max Booth III. So until then, take care of yourselves, be good to one another, read horror, keep on writing, and have a great, great day.
This is Horror Podcast.